You know what's crazy? When YouTube or coaching didn't work in the first few months, people told me to just give it up. It isn't working. But after 2 years of applying for jobs, getting rejected every time, nobody ever says stop. You might as well build something on your own. Why do you think that is?
When my channel wasn't working and coaching wasn't working, so many people, family, friends, why don't you try something different? Obviously it's not working. Why don't you give it up? Let it go. Maybe this is a sign that this is not for you. Blah, 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 blah. So, you hear that a bunch of 100 different times and, you start to believe it. So I started looking for a job, a 9-to-5, trying to get back into a career, trying to find a different career, anything but the auto business. And that's where I've been for 2 years. For 2 years, in 2 different states, I've been looking for a job. And I get rejection after rejection. The thing that bothers me the most is, after 2 years of getting rejection after rejection, nobody says to me, hey, maybe this isn't working. Maybe you should try building something on your own. Maybe you should start doing something different. Nobody says that. It's like, hey, you know what? Don't give up. Keep trying. Because for a lot of people, working for somebody else is the end all. It's like, that solves everything. Even though people are getting laid off left and right all over the country, even though you can go on Google and search companies who treat their employees like shit, and then there are people that are like, oh, because it doesn't happen to them, then it doesn't exist. That's not true. How come nobody says, hey, looking for a job for 2 years, it's clearly not working. Maybe you should focus and start doing something different. Maybe you should try to do something different. You don't ever hear people say that. That's the only time that people keep telling you, oh, just keep trying, just keep trying, just keep trying. Depend on somebody else. That's worth more than apparently depending on yourself and betting on yourself. Just keep trying to look for a job that, that clearly after 2 years ain't coming. So the truth is that people are so scared to do shit for themselves that they project those fears on you. And because they can't perceive that themselves they can do it, then they want to talk shit about you and make you feel like that you're incapable. But let me explain something. Everybody who's ever made it, a lot of these people weren't exceptional people. They weren't, they were probably gifted at some point in some circumstances or whatever, but we're all gifted at something. So that's not an excuse, right? But the thing that sets those people apart from normal people is the fact that they don't give up. They didn't give up when it looked like they weren't gonna make it. They kept going and they kept pushing and they kept believing in the thing that they couldn't see. So they kept pushing and they made it. And if they had listened to the people that said that they wouldn't, the people that gave them 100,000 reasons why it wouldn't work, then they wouldn't be where they are. There wouldn't be Michael Jordans. Denzel Washington's, Steve Harvey's, Oprah's, right? There wouldn't be Barack Obama's. There wouldn't be the Eminems. There wouldn't be whoever, whatever celebrity that you can think of. How many celebrities, how many athletes have you heard they come from fucked up backgrounds that had nothing to go for themselves but the drive to be something, to achieve something? Why is it that when you try to better yourself and you try to build something that nobody else can see, they tear it down? Instead of saying, hell yeah, you know what, dude? Go for that shit. And you know what? Don't give up no matter what. Pivot, replan, restructure, reset, whatever you gotta do, but don't give up. Why isn't that the thing that gets pushed the most? I left my job after 17 years because I was ready to do more. I was ready to be more, to do something that was meaningful to me, even if that meant that I would make less money. But the idea of waking up every day and doing something that I was happy to do, that was worth more to me than just some paycheck that I was breaking my back and killing myself over just to get. And yeah, you might disagree because to some people, you know, living a certain lifestyle is more important, but ask yourself, how much are you really willing to give up for that lifestyle? Especially if it's something that doesn't make your soul, fulfill your soul or make your heart happy. If it's not something that you get up in the morning and you're like, fuck yeah, I get to go do this today. That's where I was. I wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilled. I didn't feel like I was doing anything meaningful. So let me say this. The truth of the matter is, anytime that you set out to be an entrepreneur and build something for yourself, you're crazy up until the day it works. And then when people see your success and they see what you've gained, and then they'll call you lucky. Because most people don't want to believe that somebody was crazy enough to go through the things that you have to face in order to achieve your goals, right? God showed David the throne. He showed him his end goal. So you're going to be on the throne, you're going to be ruling, people are going to love you, all this jazz, right? But what do you think God, or what do you think David would have done had God had to show him that you'd have to spend time in a dungeon and all that stuff he went through just to get there? Most of us will tell God, you know what? Never mind, I don't want it. Because most people are not willing to go through the things that Lexi and I went through just to achieve our goals. Because we look insane. We look crazy. But the thing is, right, like Steve Jobs said,
the ones that are successful loved what they did so they could persevere when it got really tough. And the ones that didn't love it quit because they're sane, right? Who would want to put up with this stuff if you don't love it?
If it's not something that makes your heart sink, if it's not something that fulfills you, you're not going to want to do it. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter. Coaching, content creation, I believe is my gift. My ability to speak, my ability to reach people and be heard and make people feel seen and respected. That's what I do. That's what I'm gifted at. And I can't see a better way to do that, to share that, than to do what I'm doing now. So, If you're out there and you're trying to build and it ain't going the way you expected, shift. Do what you got to do to keep moving, but don't stop. Don't give up, because one day you'll make it. You'll make it. It'll maybe not look the way you thought it would. It maybe not packaged the way you envision it, but you'll make it. But the guarantee of giving up is, if you give up, there's no way in hell that you're ever gonna achieve your dreams, that you're ever gonna reach your goals. So hold on to it and be your biggest fan, because nobody's gonna clap for you until the moment you don't need them to.
The way I see it, God won't let us settle where He doesn't want us. And if I haven't landed a job after 2 years, maybe that's because He's pushing me to walk in my gift. That's my fight today, while Lexi's grinding at work.